Today's class is for advanced students, but don't worry, I have some easier classes coming up. So today we're going to take a look at an article from the New York Times written by someone at Guantanamo Bay, and we're going to talk about what Guantanamo Bay is, where it is, why the United States has it, things like that. So I'm posting the article in Verbling chat. All right, and so this class is for advanced students. That way we can read the article and have a discussion, and sometimes the vocabulary is a little difficult in the New York Times, so just make sure intermediate or advanced. And it's pretty short, so if you guys are pretty strong in English, this may only take 30 to 40 minutes, and then we can spend the rest of the class answering questions or going over something you want to learn in English, working on grammar, maybe practicing writing a little bit. So it depends on how strong the class is. And I see I have one student already. Welcome to class, Asray. Okay. And this is what we're going to be working with. So Gitmo is killing me. And this is the opinion pages of the New York Times. It's one of my favorite newspapers, and it's completely free online. So if you ever want practice, you can do some reading at home if you want a challenge. Okay. And so we'll wait for more students to join class because my class is completely empty. So if you want to join, please go ahead. All right. And Asray, are you new to Verbling? Can you introduce yourself at all? Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like more people are joining class, which is cool, and then we can start soon. So you'll get plenty of practice reading, speaking. We'll work on your pronunciation, work on answering comprehension questions, sharing opinions. All right, welcome guys. So I'm going to post the link again. All right. Okay. And so does anyone not have the article? Okay. So everyone should have the link and the web page that looks like this, right? Okay. Well, I'll take that as a yes, guys.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
the page.
Okay. So before we get started, because class isn't completely full, we can start with some introductions. So I'm Laura. I'm your Verbling teacher. I live in France, but I move in a week. So you won't see some classes for me because I have to move back to the US. All right, and I teach English in France right now. All right, so would anyone else like to introduce themselves to class at all? So how about Abdul Bazit? Where are you from?
Hello everyone, my name is Abdul and I'm from California.
You're from California. All right, so you get a lot of practice speaking English.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, all right. And Igor, can you introduce yourself? I know I've had you many times before.
Yes, I'm Igor. I'm from Republic of Moldova.
Cool. And Ivan Cicero?
Hi, I'm Ivan, and from Italy.
From Italy, nice.
Yeah.
And Juan Sepulveda?
Hi everyone, I am Juan and I am from Colombia.
From Colombia. And Asray? What about Sabri Koskun Kazdal? Sorry if I say your names.
First name Sabri.
Sabri, okay.
Yes.
Hi everybody. I'm from Turkey in live Ankara.
Okay,
Good
cool.
luck.
And are you in New York in your picture? It kind of looks
Yes,
like New York.
yes, Manhattan and New Jersey
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's the new monument. All
Yeah.
right, cool. And Sam Cloud?
Hello, I'm Sam from Syria. I'm living in Spain.
Oh, nice. All right. And Tuyet Nguyen?
Hi, hi
Hello.
teacher. Hi, hi teacher. I'm from Vietnam.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have students from all over the world today. So if some of you are new and you're having technological problems, let me know and I can help you out. All right. But for now, we're going to get started in class. All right. So we're just going to start with a quick discussion. Does anyone know what Guantanamo Bay is or what it's used for or where it is at all? So does anyone have any ideas?
Yes, it's a bay on the southeastern coast of Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
there are prison for people, for people that are considered terrorists, and they are judged, and after that they moved there in
yeah.
that bay.
And is it American or is it Cuban owned?
American.
Yeah. Okay, and so just to address the silence problem, when you come to class, Asray, you're muted. So you should, sorry guys, just hold on a second. So you should see this button. When it's red, you're silent, and when it's white, we can hear you. All right. Sorry for the little tangent. Yeah, so good, Igor. It's a prison on the south side, is it, of Cuba, and it's owned by Americans, and it's mostly used for terrorists or people we consider extremely dangerous to our country. A lot of the times it's war detainees as well.
And also Barack Obama said in his campaign that he will close this this prison. I don't know what he said.
Yeah, exactly. Obama promised to close Guantanamo Bay, but it's still open, unfortunately. And my other question is, do prisoners get treated normally here, or are there some horrible practices that go on? Have you heard any stories about Guantanamo Bay? Okay. So unfortunately, Guantanamo Bay has been known to torture their prisoners for information. So that's one of the biggest problems with the detention camp.
Yes, we have seen in the news this about and photos from that prison how they, I don't know, they didn't treat properly that people from that prison.
Yeah. And we're going to learn in today's class what some of these prisoners are doing to kind of rebel. So can you think of anything a prisoner can do to rebel against fair treatment? Can you think of any tactics at all?
Long-term fasting.
Yeah. So long-term fasting, good. Which we can also call a hunger strike.
You're muted.
Yep, we're going to take a look at that today. It happens when I type. Google changed, so Verbling's trying to fix that. So if you type and you're speaking, it mutes you. So that may happen to me a little bit. All right. And so would anyone like to start reading for us at all?
Sure, if you like.
Yeah, awesome.
Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. One man here weighs just 77 pounds, another 98. Last thing I knew, I weighed 132, but that was a month ago. I have been on a hunger strike since February 10th and have lost well over 30 pounds. I will not eat until they restore my dignity. I have been detained at Guantanamo for 11 years and 3 months. I have never changed with my crime.
I've
I have
never been charged.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I have never been charged with my crime. I have never received a trial. I could
Good.
have. Okay.
So I'm just going to do some math for you guys here. So 77 pounds is about 35 kilograms, okay? And then 98, 98 is 45 kilograms, okay? And 132 is about 60 kilograms. So these are very small weights, right, for men. So
Skinny, right?
yeah, they're very, very skinny and very, very thin. So especially 77 pounds. He's probably, we have an expression, skin and bones.
Yep.
Okay, and so how many pounds has our speaker lost since he started his hunger strike on February 10th?
He's 102.
So that's how much he weighed a month ago.
No, it's now because he lost 30 pounds.
Yeah, so he's lost 30 pounds, which is equivalent to about 13.5 kilograms. Okay. And he says he will not eat until they restore my dignity. So can we get maybe dignity or a definition?
Sorry, you are muted. Can you please repeat your question?
Ooh. Yep. Can we get some synonyms for dignity?
Dignity?
Mm-hmm.
Integrity.
Like bright.
Okay, so I heard integrity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Pride, yeah. Integrity, pride. Okay. Any other ones you can think of? Or maybe a definition, so we can get a definition for people out there. So what would you describe dignity as?
The state or quality of being worthy or honor or respect.
You're using your dictionary.
No, I'm not.
No, yeah, so that's right. So we'll say worthy of respect, just to simple. I hope they change that because it's really annoying. So, all right, good. Okay, and so does anyone else want to continue? Oh no, one more question. How long has our prisoner been at Guantanamo Bay? Did anyone catch
11
that?
years and 3 months.
Yeah.
And what was his crime?
Not crime, no?
Yeah, exactly. So he has no crime. He's never been found guilty of anything.
It's very strange. Okay.
He was, how to say, they thought that he something did. That's why he detained
Yeah.
him.
So because Guantanamo Bay is a military base, it has a little bit, sometimes the military have different rules than what we apply to our citizens. So I'm sure we all know that in war, or our military don't always act with the most honorable actions, and that's what's happened with Guantanamo Bay. Because in the US, we're not supposed to, you have to have a trial, and to be in prison, you have to have been found guilty with a sufficient amount of evidence. So this is technically illegal. If this was an American citizen, this would be illegal. So, yeah. It's a difficult situation, and it's a little bit of an embarrassment.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Would anyone like to continue reading for us?
Okay.
Awesome.
Can I?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
I could have been home years ago.
Mm-hmm.
No one seriously thinks I'm treated, but still I'm here. Years ago, the military said I was a word for Osama bin Laden, but this was nonsense, like something out of the American movies I used to watch. They don't even seem to believe it anymore, but they don't seem to care how long I sit here either.
Good.
When I was at home in Yemen in 2000, a childhood friend told me that in Afghanistan I could do better than the what?
$50 a month.
$50 a month I earned in a factory to support my family. I never really traveled and knew nothing about Afghanistan, but I gave it a try. I was wrong to trust him. There was no work. I wanted to live, but had no money to fly home. After the American invasion in 2001, I fled to Pakistan like everyone else. The Pakistanis arrested me when I asked to see someone from the Yemeni embassy. It was then sent to Kandahar and put on the first plane to Gitmo.
Good. All right. So where is he from, our speaker? What country originally?
Yemen.
Yeah, so he's from Yemen. And what did the American military thought his job was? What did we say? What did Americans say he was?
He was a guard of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, so a guard. Yeah, so he protected Osama bin Laden. But was this
Bodyguard.
true? Yeah,
Bodyguard.
bodyguard. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good. And so was this true?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. He says, but this was nonsense. But he could be lying.
Yeah,
or
that's
he
what
could
he
be
says.
Yeah. So we don't know. We have to trust him, but he is imprisoned, so he could be lying. All right, and
Yeah, we don't need to trust him.
Can you repeat?
We don't have to trust him.
That's true. We don't have to trust him.
Yeah.
But do you sympathize with his story at all? Maybe I should ask that. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, like, with those kind of people, it's very hard to bring any evidence or witnesses, I mean, it's very hard to, convict those people legally. So you have to go, out from the legal system, to treat those peoples.
Yeah.
It is very hard to bring any evidence or any witness, I mean, it's not possible,
But we have here the presumption of innocence. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
That we cannot consider him guilty.
No. I mean, the thing is, like, we are not considering him, but, like, the thing is, like, the military believes that this guy is a bad guy, but they don't have any evidence to present that evidence or witness in the court against him. So that's why they, that's why, they are not, presenting that guy in the court, so that's the reason. Otherwise, they believe that this is a bad guy.
Yeah, so at this point, that's a good point. We don't have any evidence to prove
So,
he's guilty or innocent. So we
and the
think
thing
he's
is,
dangerous and we keep him.
yeah, and the thing is, which should we trust, that guy or our military? So, I mean, this is very clear, you know. I mean, we should trust our agencies and our law, our military, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe the military is making the right decision. So we should
Exactly.
put
Yep.
some faith that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Does anyone sympathize with our character's story? Do you believe him? All right. Maybe we'll see at the end if we can get some opinions on that. So just some quick comprehension questions. Why did he move to Afghanistan?
He wanted to find a job according to his friend's recommendation, but there was no job in Afghanistan. And
Yeah. No, keep going.
Yeah, and I feel really, I really sympathize with him. And I think he was just a victim of war that was, triggered by, just my opinion.
Yeah, so he thought he was moving to a better country, and he actually moved into a war zone. So, yeah.
And this is absolutely lie, you know, like if you go back to 2001, and if you, I mean, check the record and compare the Yemen economy to Afghanistan, I mean, Afghanistan economy was much, much worse compared to Yemen. So this is absolutely lie.
Yeah. He tells us in the next paragraph too, right? I was wrong to trust him. So he says that he shouldn't have trusted his friend, but yeah. So you're right. This seems a little fishy, right here.
Yes, absolutely.
So if the Yemen economy was a little bit stronger, even if he was only making $50 a month, at least he was employed. But he thought he could make more money in Afghanistan.
Now he's free from this prison.
I'm not sure. I guess we'll see.
And if he's free, why he's free? I have a question.
Okay. I heard someone say, no, I don't think he's free. And I think I agree with you from the tone in the beginning of the article. It sounds like he's writing this and sent it to a newspaper. But we'll see. I'm not sure. All right. And then why was he arrested in Pakistan?
Because he crossed the border illegally.
Yeah.
Without any papers.
Yeah.
That's another crime.
Yeah. So he doesn't have papers, and he's migrating between countries illegally.
And he's not free now.
Yeah.
I read he gave this interview through telephone.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so that helps us a lot. So he's still imprisoned. It's interesting that Guantanamo Bay allowed him to do an interview.
At the end, we can see this.
Yeah. Anyone want to continue reading for us?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, if Igor wants to read, go ahead, Igor.
No, Abdul, go ahead you.
Okay. Last month, on March 15, I was sick in the prison hospital and refused to be fed. A team from the ERF, Extreme Reaction Force, a squad of 8 military police officers in riot gear, burst in. They tied my hands and feet to the bed. They forcibly inserted on, I believe it's 6, right?
An IV, which means IV is a fluid to help hydrate you.
Oh, okay, an IV into my hand. I spent 26 hours in this state, tied to the bed. During this time, I was not permitted to go to the toilet. They inserted a catheter, which was painful.
Catheter. a catheter.
Catheter?
So yeah, so you don't have to go to the bathroom. They insert this into your body, and then you empty a bag of urine and feces, usually.
The veins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it depends on the procedure, but sometimes they sew you, like may sew your anus shut, or sometimes it can just be inserted into your genital area, so you don't have to leave your bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My mother works in this field, in this
really
sort of
bad.
medical field, so it's a little disgusting. So if you're ever on to have a catheter, it's not that fun. I'll call it a bathroom. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. Which was painful, degrading, and unnecessary. I was not even permitted to pray.
And continue.
I will never forget the first time they passed the feeding tube up my nose. I can't describe how painful it is to be force-fed this way. As it was thrust in, it made me feel like throwing up. I wanted to vomit, but I couldn't. There was agony in my chest, throat, and stomach. I had never experienced such pain before. I would not wish this cruel punishment upon everyone.
One more paragraph, please.
I am still being force-fed 2 times a day. They tie me to a chair in my cell. My arms, my legs, and head are strapped down. I never know when they will come. Sometimes they come during the night, as late as 11 p.m. when I am sleeping.
Good job. Awesome. So we talked about how this man is on hunger strike, and he's very thin, and so are some of the other prisoners. How do we ensure that they don't die? How do we feed them? What's the process?
Can give them blood?
Through the blood. No?
So what we do is we hydrate them through the blood,
Water.
and that's with the IV. So the IV is fluid through blood, so that way you're no longer thirsty, and you're not going to die of dehydration. But how do we actually feed you? Any ideas? Okay.
How do we actually what?
So they actually feed these people, and they take a tube and they put it up your nose.
Yep.
And it's a liquid with nutrients, and it goes directly into your stomach.
Like glucose type thing.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure what it's made of. Maybe it's mashed bananas. Not really sure, or maybe just a fluid with vitamins and minerals and nutrients. But you're force-fed through your nose, so it goes up your nose and down into your throat and down into your stomach. So you don't have a choice. You can't vomit during the process.
Jesus.
So yeah, and then the fluid is through the arms. So it's he says degrading, and so we'll work on that word. Can you guys explain degrading for me at all?
Degrading means when you degrade somebody, when you treat somebody with disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
When you are not giving respect to somebody.
Exactly, as well as degrading, humiliating, kind of being treated like an animal. The way we're treating this man is not is not as humanely as possible. So when you degrade someone, you take away their humanity a little bit. Okay. And then they use another word, agony, and that's a pretty good word that you can use instead of painful. So just giving you some synonyms, and any other words you wanted to work on at all that you didn't understand?
What is called catheter, teacher?
What word?
Catheter.
Catheter.
Catheter. Yep, so the catheter, that's the tube for going to the bathroom.
There is a lot of medical terms in these paragraphs.
Yeah. So everyone has this. You have the urge to go to the bathroom, right? Okay, you drink a lot of water, you have to go pee. With a catheter, you don't have that sensation. As your body produces urine or feces, it gets put in the bag, and the bag is usually on your back, lower back, or on your hip. And then when the bag is full, you have to empty it and clean it. And so it's not only painful, but it's also disgusting for people to do that, to have their feces and everything outside of their body. So especially since he's probably not having the best medical treatment, it probably sits there for a while. So okay, so catheter, and then feeding tube, that's the tube they use up your nose. All right. Yeah, so there are a few medical terms in here. Any other ones you didn't understand or want to go over? Okay, good. And so just one more word that they use is force-fed, which has no choice in eating. So, yeah. All right. So we're going to continue. If no one has any questions. Okay. And would someone else like to read for us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where to start?
All right, go ahead, Igor.
Where to start?
Yep, one sec. Let me click on me.
There are so many.
Yep, so there are so many
Okay.
on hunger strike.
There are so many of us on hunger strike now that there aren't enough qualified medical staff members to carry out the force feedings. Nothing is happening at regular intervals. They're feeding people around the clock just to keep up. During one force feeding, the nurse, how to pronounce? Nurse pushed the tube about 18 inches into my stomach, hurting me more than usual because she was doing things so hastily. I called the interpreter to ask the doctor if the procedure was being done correctly or not. It was so painful that I begged them to stop feeding me. The nurse refused to stop feeding me. As they were finishing, some of the food spilled on my clothes. I asked them to change my clothes, but the guard refused to allow me to hold onto this last shred of my dignity. When they come to force me into the chair, if I refuse to be tied up, they call the ERF team. So I have a choice. Either I can exercise my right to protest my detention and be beaten up, or I can submit to painful force feeding.
Good. All right, so we'll stop there. So what does he tell us is one of the problems that's arising from the hunger strike? What is happening to the nurses and the doctors?
They feed him. They feed him with this.
Do they have time to feed him at normal hours, like at 7 for dinner and 8 a.m. for breakfast?
No.
No. So they use a phrase right here, around the clock, just to keep up. So they're feeding people at 11 at night, midnight, 1 a.m., 5 a.m., noon, because they have so many prisoners that are starving themselves that the medical staff is just constantly feeding people and hydrating people and keeping them alive. All right, so a lot of the prisoners are starving themselves. And then he describes a scenario to us, and 18 inches is about 46 centimeters. Okay, so he had, she accidentally pushed the tube too far into his stomach by 46 centimeters. So he was in a lot of pain. All right, just to make that clear. And then he tells us in this paragraph, what does he tell us about the ERF, the police team? He can either eat, or what will they do to him? Any ideas?
To beat him.
Yeah, so he can eat, or they
beaten up.
Yeah, they beat him up. Okay, and so we're going to continue. Unless does anyone have any questions about this part?
Very detailed. He explained what happened.
Okay. It's very detailed, you said?
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
detailed. In detail, I mean, this that they do not feed him on time, and the nurse was not very pay attention to him, and I don't know, 18 inches into my stomach. Very detailed.
Yeah,
Description.
exactly. Not a happy description either. Would anyone else like to continue reading for us?
Okay.
Okay, cool, Ishmael.
The only reason I'm still here is that President Obama refused to send any detainees back to Yemen. This makes no sense. I'm a human being, not a passport, and I deserve to be treated like one. I do not want to die here, but until President Obama and Yemen's president do something, that is what I risk every day. Where is my government? I will submit to any security measures they want in order to go home, even though they are totally unnecessary. I will agree to whatever it takes in order to be free. I'm now 35, and all I want is to see my family again and to start a family of my own.
And continue. We'll just finish it up because it's only a few more sentences.
Okay. The situation is desperate now. All the detainees here are suffering deeply. At least 40 people here are on a hunger strike. People are fainting with exhaustion every day. I have vomited blood. And there is no end in sight to our imprisonment. Denying ourselves food and risking death every day is the choice we have made. I just hope that because of the pain we are suffering, the eyes of the world will once again look to Guantanamo before it's too late.
Great, good job. And so they tell us at the end, his name is Sami Naji Al-Hassan Mokbel. He's been a prisoner since 2002. And I guess he only speaks Arabic, so someone had to interpret what he said via telephone. So yeah, good. So how many prisoners are starving themselves at Guantanamo Bay right now?
About 40.
40.
Yeah, about 40. And why is he still at Guantanamo Bay? What did Obama refuse to do?
To send back some people in Yemen, I think, to exchange. Or
Yeah, so I'm not sure why. I don't really know that political answer. Does anyone know why we won't send these men back to Yemen at all? Yeah,
no.
I don't know, but for some reason, the Obama's refusing to. All right.
Because it's not safe.
Yeah, maybe it's not safe. I feel like
Yeah.
Yemen isn't one of the countries that we should fear, though, in terms of attacks on the U.S. or in terms of
Yeah, I think.
terrorist culture, though.
But don't
I
forget
think.
that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But don't
So
forget that he captured in Afghanistan, not in Yemen.
yeah, exactly. So I thought it was a few other countries, not Yemen, that
But maybe it's Yemeni.
yes.
It's for me, Yemen, maybe, I think. But because some countries, they don't want their citizens who are in Guantanamo to come back because they see them as a threat.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe his president and Obama, they don't agree yet to give back the prisoners from Yemen.
Yeah.
Because,
Okay, I understand. That's a really good point. So maybe Obama wants to send them, but the president in Yemen or prime minister, I'm not sure about their government, he doesn't want their prisoners back because they're a threat. Okay. Oh, and shred of dignity. So good question, Juan. He says he has a shred of dignity, or he can't keep one last shred of dignity. It's just a small piece. So a shred is
like tear apart or something.
yeah, and so usually we say to shred paper, which means to tear paper. So you shred something means many, many small pieces. So
Okay.
you can't even keep the smallest piece of your dignity, is what he's saying. So, all right, good question. So does anyone else have questions or want to answer my question of, do you sympathize with him? Do you trust him?
No, not at all. I mean, look at the facts, like he went to Afghanistan. In 2001, everybody knows that there was no legitimate government in Afghanistan. It was illegal government. How he went to Afghanistan? Where did he apply for the visa? Because United Nations, they didn't recognize the Afghanistan government as a legitimate government. So how he applied for the visa? He went legally, illegally. Of course, he went illegally because the government was not legitimate. And then he went to Pakistan illegally. So he violated law twice. And
But should we
any sense.
pardon that?
But
So should we pardon prisoners of war or people who are escaping countries that are in the midst of war?
I sympathize with him.
So you sympathize with that? He was in war.
No, maybe not especially him, but maybe others people, they're not imprisoned for the same reasons, or they're just here and they don't have any lawyer, so they don't even are in the USA. It's in Cuba, so it's a very strange situation.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult with political refugees. I currently live in a house right now with a family of 3 from Georgia. And Georgia right now is a Muslim country, mostly Muslim. And when they came to Europe about 15 years ago, I think, they're Christian. So they were the minority and they feared for their lives. So they migrated illegally to Poland. And so now they're in France, and they're going to get deported because they don't have papers. You know, Europe doesn't want illegal immigrants.
But that is totally different story.
So, yeah, they're not dangerous, but it's kind of the same idea. They're coming from a country that had some political torment or some problems with war or problems with religion. Should we do something for these people?
Well, I mean, I will ask one question, you know, from everybody in the class.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to go to Afghanistan for a better future?
That's anyone.
Anyone would like to go to Afghanistan for a better future? Just
Also, Abdul, I know you're from California, but can I ask where you're from originally?
I'm from Pakistan.
So you're from Pakistan, and when did you go to the U.S.?
In 2009, I think.
Oh, wow, so recently. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so what was your reason for going to the U.S.? Was it for a better future? Yeah. You wouldn't have gone to Afghanistan for your better future.
So that's what I'm asking from my class fellows, you know, that who would like to go?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes, but we cannot judge someone just because he's going somewhere. Maybe if there was not war or any problems, one day I would like to go. I don't know. Maybe.
There was a civil war in Afghanistan.
The culture.
No, there was a civil war in Afghanistan in 2001. Just keep that in mind.
Ah, yes, that's true.
There was a civil war.
Yes, but I mean, if I agree, you can stay in prison, but you need a lawyer and you need everything.
He has a lawyer. He has a lawyer.
My only question is, so I understand wanting to go to a different country, but when you move, you take your identification. You take your birth certificates, you take a license, a passport, you take whatever you have that proves who you are. So that's one of the things I don't understand. When people leave their countries, they leave all of that behind. Like the family that I live with, they have no papers to prove that they're actually from Georgia. They have nothing.
Yeah, but they live in France now.
Yes, but the government is trying to deport them.
Oh.
So,
because there is sometimes there is a good point in not having any papers when you are a refugee. The good thing is because, for example, in France they have a law, they cannot send you back because they don't have the proof you're from that country. I mean.
Okay. Maybe that's why they're still allowed here, because we've had some. They've been having some problems with the government. Yeah. So
because I know, for example, sometimes some African countries, I know when the police come, they hide their passport, they throw them, so they don't know the country, and after like 60 days, because the law tells it or something like that, they just have to release them.
Okay. So, yeah. Interesting. All right, so maybe that's why when people are escaping their countries, they don't have their identification. I don't know. I would still bring it. I feel like being able to prove you're from a certain country is sometimes better.
No, not sometimes.
Being able to prove who you are.
Not sometimes, all the times. Like, you know, if you're going to another country, so you should respect, you know, the law of the land. And you have to go to embassy, apply for the visa, and do all the paperwork, and, you know, go there legally. If you are going there illegally, then you have to be responsible for your own.
Yes, when it's not legal, of course. I understand, but sometimes.
What about some other thoughts in class? Do you sympathize with this author, with him not taking his identification, immigrating illegally, looking for work? Do you believe his story, or do you think he's full of crap?
I do not have any opinion on this.
You don't have any opinion?
I do not have any. I can't say anything because I wasn't with him. I do not know him. I didn't see him. I didn't hear him. So I believe and I do not believe. I don't know. Nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was kind of situation that in Yemen, I don't know, was too hard to find a job, and then Afghanistan, you go to find a better, not better job, but more money where you pay. They pay more money there. For example, that is risky to work there. For example, that I don't know what situation was there. And Yemen is a neighbor with Afghanistan, or no?
No, it's not.
No? This is kind of like some strange.
It's in the-
That's from Yemen to Afghanistan. He may go to country that is neighbor to
Yes.
Yemen. I think this is the idea. This is for me strange. For example, if I wouldn't have a job here, I would go to country that is near me, but not.
And the thing is, which is bizarre, is that the countries that are near Yemen is like Saudi Arabia, where is much more work, I
Yes.
think, than
It's
in
close
Afghanistan.
to, yeah, it's close to Africa, Saudi Arabia, maybe even Iraq is closer.
Yeah.
But Afghanistan is very far. If you guys can see my picture, Afghanistan's over here. Yemen is over here.
Strange.
And all the countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, I think there is much more work than in Afghanistan.
Yeah, maybe possibly even Turkey. You know, Turkey's was doing pretty well. I mean, not every country is doing great right now, or even some countries in Africa, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. You know, I mean, right now they're in political torment. But you know, 20 years ago, I would have rather gone to Algeria than to Afghanistan by far. So.
But maybe it's easier to cross for the borders.
Yeah.
And one more thing. In 2001, there was only 2 countries in the whole world who recognized the illegitimate government of Afghanistan. So Yemen even didn't recognize the government.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, there was only 2 countries in the whole entire world who recognized the illegitimate government.
Yemen? Oh, okay. Oh, it might explain something.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. So there was that alliance between the two, kind of. Not really an alliance, but you know, Yemen respected that country at the time.
No.
Or,
No. That's.
No.
I think you didn't understand my point. There were only 2 countries in the whole world who recognized the government of Afghanistan.
yeah, and Yemen was one of them?
No, not the Yemen.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So number 1, Saudi Arabia, and number 2, Pakistan.
Okay.
All the rest of the countries didn't recognize the government in Afghanistan. So how he went to Afghanistan from Yemen, you know? His government was not even recognizing the government of Afghanistan.
Yeah. But you sound very educated, Abdul, and you moved to the U.S. and you did it legally, and it sounds like he was not. He was working in a factory, so he may not have known. So you sound like you were very, at the time, up on the political affairs, and you know your history, and he might not have. So that could have been the problem as well, his social class. Maybe he was, sounds like he was poverty-stricken. So maybe not educated, or maybe not to have the
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear, you know, like the government was illegitimate government, you know, during 2001, and they were looking for people, you know, from everywhere, you know, to bring into Afghanistan and use it for terrorism, you know. I mean, that's...
But the thing I want to say is, imagine you're in prison, and it's your fault, okay? Would you do a hunger strike? I think if you do hunger strike, maybe you believe you're innocent, and you find it so unfair, so you do a hunger strike.
No, I mean, they're just doing all this just because to capture the sympathies, you know, of the people, just for that.
They can, maybe.
Yeah, they're just doing that for sympathies, you know, that
but
the people should sympathize with them, that's it.
They risk their health a lot. because there can be a lot of problems, health problems after this.
Yeah, that's a good point. So some of those people may be faking on the hunger strike. They may definitely be guilty. Out of 40 people cannot be innocent if they've been captured by a military. But maybe there's 1 or 5 or 10, you know, that are innocent. And it was called Guantanamo Bay. And it was about a boy. So if you guys are interested, it's just called Guantanamo Bay. And I was looking for the author, but I can't seem to find it. I'll have to let you know in a week when I go back to the US and it's on my bookshelf. And it was about this young man, and I can't remember what country he was in, but he got arrested and he found religion at Guantanamo Bay. He became a Muslim, and it was very interesting. It shows you what happens there. It talks about the life of imprisonment at Guantanamo Bay, the structure of the soldiers, the structure of the camp. It's partly fiction, and but a lot of it is based on fact, which I thought was really interesting. So in a week, when I'm back in the US, I can give you all the name if anyone's interested in the book to read. And it's not as difficult, the language is not as difficult as a New York Times article. So the language is a little bit easier, but it's a little psychedelic because he starts to lose his mind when he's tortured and things like that.
It's hard to because we don't find the logic.
Yeah, so it might be hard in that sense, but a lot of you guys are very advanced, so you might be able to understand the book. If anything, it's just an interesting insight. But I'm going to end class here.